For all of you asking me about your unemployment tax refund, the IRS just announced 430,000 of them recently went out. Those taxpayers in this latest batch of corrections had an average payment of $1,189. The IRS says it has nearly completed all of the corrections and refunds for the simplest tax returns and now has started concentrating more on complex returns, like returns for those filing married and those with dependents. Now, this is all the result of that stimulus bill that passed in March when lawmakers decided to exclude the first $10,200 of 2020 unemployment benefits from being taxed. The problem is, back in March, by that point, people had already paid their tax bills. So the IRS has been going through the process of returning the taxes paid on that first $10,200 of unemployment benefit to those who are eligible. Now, if you got one of these refunds, you need to keep an eye on your mail because within about 30 days of the refund, the IRS will send you a letter explaining how much you got and if that money was offset by any other debts that you may owe. The IRS says there will be one more batch of unemployment tax refunds to those who are eligible before the end of the year. There is no decision yet from the Supreme Court after the justices heard arguments for 3 hours today over the controversial Texas abortion law. Now, the High Court is not hearing arguments about the substance of the law, which bans abortions after 6 weeks. Instead, the justices are determining whether it's lawful for state and local governments to pass laws that sidestep judicial review by instead allowing private citizens to enforce the law through civil actions. The Supreme Court is also determining whether the federal government can sue the state of Texas over all of this. Lots is being made over the lines of questioning from conservative justices Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh talked about his concerns over the implications that if Texas is allowed to do this with abortions, could other states use the same mechanism of citizens' enforcement to intrude on other rights protected by the Constitution? For example, would this open up more liberal states to perhaps infringe on gun rights in the same way with no judicial review? Now, it's always good policy to take what the justices say during oral arguments with a grain of salt. Just because they may appear to lean a certain way during questioning doesn't mean that's how they will ultimately rule. And speaking of the ruling, because this case was expedited by the court, it is possible that this ruling would come much sooner than the court's normal ruling release date of early summer.